Hey, welcome back to your Goddess Blueprint and how to change your life in 30 days. I'm just going to jump right into it. I'm not going to have any interest. Just know that I'll be uploading every Saturday another part of this course that I am teaching. So, in the first half, I showed you how to take your sun, moon, rising, and your Venus sign to create your avatar so that you could write your script. Because once you know yourself, you know the character that you're playing in your movie. And we all know that we're playing this game. And as we go through each house, we are growing, we are evolving, and we are discovering more about ourselves. So I'm just going to get into where I left off in the last video. You can watch the first one. I know it's long, but there's a lot of information there, and I hope that it is helpful and that you get what you need so that you can drastically change your life. Because once you know who you are as the player and you step into your goddess energy, you are aligned and you become so magnetic. So I left off with talking about the planets. This video, I'm going to be going into the mile markers, what to expect that is showing you in the game to see where you are. So you have your annual sun return, which is your birthday. So every year, so remember the sun's energy is the I am energy. It is what you are creating externally. So you can see how much you've grown and what you are doing externally. Now, the moon, you'll have a return about every month. And because the moon moves every 2.5 days, um, you can look and see. Um, you also have a progressive moon chart, but I'm not going to get into that right now. But paying attention to the moon is like you will align with your moon sign, but the moon really helps you to work with her phases as you are evolving, because it's our emotions that get in the way from our evolution. Just like I was talking about in the last video, how there's emotions, they're on opposite side of the poles, but they are not good or bad. It's just how you make them, how you give your energy to them. So when you learn how to balance them and you know that it's going to pass because it's an emotion, you won't let it take you out of your game. And you will know when you have those spikes of feeling very emotional during a moon, a full moon and a new moon, and through the phases, you can check in. So that's where the moon is very helpful. Now, Mercury changes every 3 to 4 weeks, but it can extend into 10 weeks according to it going retrograde. Venus changes zodiac signs every 4 to 5 weeks. And you want to pay attention to that because your Venus, your natal Venus, and the Venus that is transiting is communicating. So, for instance, if you have a Cancer Venus and you're nurturing, and then you have Venus is in Libra right now, which more is about the beautiful minded and relationship. They're communicating with how you can nurture yourself so that way you fill your cup up so that in relationship you're not over giving and people pleasing and there's nothing left for you, because Venus in Libra is all about relationships, and Libras love relationship, but they love them so much that they lose themselves in the process. So watch how they're communicating with each other. Now Mars changes every 6 weeks, about every 6 weeks. And Mars is in Scorpio right now. So again, Mars is that masculine energy. It's where you're going to take charge, how you're moving towards something. And it can be a little harsh too. So you want to check in where your masculine energy is, because you don't want to deplete your Venus energy. And then Jupiter changes approximately every 13 months. And Jupiter happens to be in Cancer right now. Then you have a Saturn return, and your Saturn return happens every 28 to 30 days. And Saturn returns are very important because they're mile markers to see if you're evolving, because Saturn is all about achieving. It's your discipline, it's your being responsible. and what you are building, right? This, what you are, because remember, Saturn rules um, the 10th house of career and public reputation. So you want to check in to see how much you've evolved in your public reputation. You will know when those mile markers come because you will feel a shift in how you're observing life. For instance, if you're in your 20s, when you're getting close to 30, that's when you're like, oh, I need to be more responsible. I need more like showing that I am achieving. And that's where you might be feeling like, okay, I've got to have children, or it's time for me to get married, or it's time for me to look and see where my career is and get serious about it. And then when you have your second Saturn return, that is after 28, 30 years. That's after like you've raised your family and you're kind of in your third act, because you're no longer in your mother, you're in your crone. And so you're thinking about a legacy project. What are you going to leave behind? And then if you're lucky, you'll have a third Saturn return, um, you know, and that's where it's like you're just taking it easy, right? It's like you're able to look back and see where you truly lived your life. And then we also have Neptune, and Neptune changes every 14 years. And so when Neptune changes, um, you're able to see where illusion is lifted. You're also able to see where um, dreams have come true. Your dreams are coming true. And also, if there's some avoidance in your life or any addiction in your life, you can check in with that mile marker. And then Uranus changes every 7 to 8 years. And Uranus is about that quick change. So pay attention to when you have a Uranus return in your chart in 7 to 8 years, and what kind of, because sometimes Uranus can be uncomfortable. And when Uranus is uncomfortable, it feels like the rug has been pulled from underneath you and it was unexpected and you weren't ready for it. But when you can look back on it, you can see how it catapulted you on your journey. It changed the way that you view things. And then Pluto changes the zodiacs roughly every 12 to 32 years. It happens to be in Pluto, and it's going to be in Pluto for 40 years because you have to calculate the retrogrades. So this Pluto is your transformation. It is to break down what isn't serving you. It's a death and a rebirth, just like I was talking about in the last video. So know that Pluto is going to be in Aquarius for 40 years. So this is going to be there for a long time. So you want to see where you have an Aquarius in it, because Aquarius is the visionary. It is also the stamp of what age we're in now. And so we're able to see that the old world is crumbling because Pluto is tearing down the old world, because Aquarius, the age of Aquarius, is about building a new vision, a new way of being. So we're seeing that happen. And then also you have your nodal returns. And your nodal returns happen every 18 years. And that is like your south node is what you brought in from a past life. It's who you were in a past life. And your north node is what you're here to master. So every 18 years, you're going to have a mile marker to see how close you are into achieving what you said you were going to come here to master. Now that we've talked about your north nodes, let's just talk about your MC. So your MC is your midheaven, and your midheaven is usually tied to your career, where you're best to have that starring role, where you're going to thrive the most. Um, Now, I do notice that when you do your chart in whole signs, the midheaven will move, but your midheaven is attached to your career choice, and it is above the horizon. So below the horizon is what you're growing internally, and then above the horizon, it's what people see. So, it's like the first 6 houses when you are maturing and you're evolving and you're growing, and then you choose the career. That's the outer world that they get to see who you become. and the career that you're choosing. And then we have the IC, it is your roots, it's your ancestors, it's your home life, it's what grounds you. So you want to pay attention because this is about your family lineage. So, what did you bring into this lifetime that has grounded you in your roots, like some of those beliefs? Because the fourth house is naturally ruled by Cancer, and the moon represents your subconscious mind, which holds those belief systems that aren't yours. So you want to pay attention to what's on repeat that you brought into this lifetime that is keeping you from your evolution. And then we have Chiron, the lovely, beautiful, wounded healer. Now, Chiron is this karma that you brought in, and it's to help you grow. You often hear me talk about, if you're not new to my channel, if you're new, I have a Chiron in self-worth. That's why I teach about self-worth using astrology, because your wounded healer, once you've mastered it, you take your medicine and you share it with others. And so that's what I'm doing. Now, your Chiron is this karmic energy that you bring in, you're unaware, but you're going to ask, like, why does this keep happening to me? And that is the universe showing you a belief that you have about yourself that is keeping you from knowing your true value, your true worth. Now, you have a Chiron return at the age of 50. So you really want, at 50, you really want to get this, heal this. And so it can be your medicine, because it will be part of your legacy. I am 61 and I am working on my legacy, and I'm leaving behind what I did to find my self-worth. And astrology helped me to remember who I am through my avatar, and how I have a very good understanding why I see the world the way I do, and not reject myself because it's weird, or it's not acceptable. Because remember, in the last video, I was talking about the last episode of this course, I was talking about how society was based on superiority and inferiority. And so when you aren't fitting in, you reject that. But the age of Aquarius is all about standing out and being an individual. And that's what you're trying to get back to on your hero's journey. You're going through an evolution so you can find yourself. And astrology helps you to kind of have a quantum leap. That's why I say you can do this in 30 days, because the more you understand yourself, the more confident you are in why you do the things that you do, why you behave the way you do, why you're attracted to the way that you think, why you don't fit in some areas, and why other things resonate for you. So it's very important. And then also we have Lilith. And Lilith is the wild feminine. She's the untamable player, which sometimes she can get you in trouble because you just want to rebel against everything. But then also she helps you to get your fire back, to remember that you don't have to dull yourself. Now, Lilith's energy has a lot of the witch wound tied to it, because that is where women, when we carry that DNA from, when they talk about epigenetics, of being afraid to be yourself and talk about what you talk about, or wanting to be an independent an independent woman, or wanting to live life on your terms. You might be afraid of that. You hold yourself back in fear because you have this witch wound. So you want to pay attention where you have Lilith in your chart. But she helps you to show up, to be unapologetic in your choices in life. And she moves you and changes everything when you step into it. So now we have Paula Athena. And Paula Athena helps you to, she happens to be in Aquarius right now. And I think Lilith is in Scorpio right now. Don't quote me on that. But Paula Athena is in Aquarius right now, and she is the creative strategist, and she also helps you on your journey to be the warrior and to be fearless. and she helps you to be creative in your strategy, where she happens to be in Aquarius right now. So you want to pay attention because Pluto is there, and we're going through this transition of the age of Aquarius. So we have to be mindful of what are we creating things on repeat because we want to get rid of the old dogma. We're creating new systems right now. And then you have many asteroids in your chart, and you can look at those, look them up and find those asteroids. So one thing I want to tell you also, which is going to probably sound not normal, but you know what? I do get messages in my dreams. And when I recorded this video and I took all these notes, because I'm channeling all of this stuff, in my dream, I woke up and the voice said, talk to yourself to figure your shit out. And I'm going to leave that with you, because if you keep everything bottled up, now I'm going to, next Saturday, I'll go into this event, but I'm going to try to keep this a little bit shorter than I did the first one because I know it overwhelms. But if you keep things bottled up and you don't talk it through, especially if you are a mental projector in human design, because you need a sounding board. I won't get into that, but if you are, you'll resonate. But talking things out, talking to yourself, helps you to make sense of what's going on in your head. If you don't want to talk it out, write it out. But you need to have a conversation with yourself. It's like every time you want to have a conversation with yourself, people are looking at you and they're just like, is she crazy? So I'm going to leave you with that, is to talk to yourself to figure your shit out, or write it out. Have a journaling process and keep notes on all of this. So you're going to describe your character, number one. You're going to understand the planets and the instructions in the houses in your chart and your mile markers. And then we're going to get into the third video, is going to be about writing your script for your avatar for this journey that you are on. And I will see you next week.